We have United States, the UK, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and the list goes on. These are guys who have been in the industry for the past 40 years, successful guys. Mark Cashman, Jennifer Canary,
Chilulemba,
Choma BBB, King E is there, of course. I'm not going anywhere.
He's going to be there.
And then, of course, the conference is supposed to have, speaking sessions, workshops, there's panel sessions. See, the experience will be massive.
Hi, and welcome to the Everything Voiceovers Podcast. I'm Tcode, an African voiceover talent from Nigeria, and this is my podcast where I take on voiceover topics from an African perspective. In this episode, my guest is the convener of Africa's Pioneer Voiceover Conference, Emmanuel Afemikhe, aka King E. We discussed the making of the Voiceover Conference, its importance for the voiceover industry, among other things. Sit back and enjoy this episode.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Everything Voiceovers Podcast, the African Perspective. It's Tcode here again, and this is episode 3 of season 2. Now, if you listened attentively, you probably heard a voice in the background, so you know it's not just me. And again, this is the first time you're seeing me in this kind of setting for the Everything Voiceovers Podcast. So something is different. Something makes it special, right? And that's because I'm speaking to a very special person. Someone who's not just special to me, but special to the voiceover industry in Nigeria and in Africa. Trust me. And interestingly enough, I've had him on the season 1 of the podcast. We had a very, very fantastic conversation. And now in season 2, he's showing up again, you can't get enough of this man. This time around, we're not just talking about his career. In case you want to know more about him, you can listen to the episode we did in season 1 where I interviewed him. But this time around, we're talking about one of the many things that he does, and he does really good, really well. He's a pioneer in the industry, a pioneer of many things. He pioneered the first Nigerian voice acting contest, which, by the way, I was the winner. I am the winner of the contest, by the way. Anyways, so he pioneered that. He started the Voiceover Workshop, right? And one more thing, which is why we're here today, amongst the other things that he's into, is what we call the Voiceover Conference. You probably have heard the Voiceover Conference, and you're wondering, where in the world is the Voiceover Conference? There are a couple of Voiceover Conferences happening globally, but this time around, one man decided to pioneer Africa's first voiceover conference and started it here in Nigeria. I'm talking about no other person than the super talented, creative, is a producer, a music producer, a voiceover editor, sound engineer, voice actor, coach, voiceover artist, a talent manager, video editor, graphic designer, he's a husband,
a
father, a coach, a friend. You can give him so many titles, but one that stands out the most is King E. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Help me welcome King E. Wherever you are, you can clap and enjoy this. Hi, King E.
Tcode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. It's good to be here again. Thank you for giving me another opportunity to do this, to talk, to share my experience and all my experiences. Mm-hmm. And well done. I see what you're doing. I'm proud of you. You're doing amazing. Well done.
Thank you so much, Kingi. I've known you we've known each other since 2020. Mm-hmm. So this year makes it 3 years, and you've been a big inspiration. One thing is, if you leave Kingi for 2 days and you come back, you're seeing a different version. Like, he's always upgrading, always thank you for always being an inspiration to not just me, but to many voice talents and even people across different industry, because you touch different industries. Now, for those of you wondering, is Kingi really his name? His name is actually Emmanuel Afemikhe, and but we call him King E because he's a king in the voiceover business. So, King E, let's talk about the voice. Should we start with the voiceover? I want us to talk a bit about the voiceover workshop, because I know that's how this whole thing started.
Yeah.
And we did talk about it in the last episode we recorded together. But this time around, you're going to be telling me, so far it's been about 4 years now that the Voiceover Workshop has been existing.
Yeah.
So somebody is probably listening to this podcast for the first time and she doesn't know about the existence of the Voiceover Workshop. So let's talk about that. And then we'll talk about the Voiceover Conference. So tell us again what the Voiceover Workshop is all about and how it transitioned to becoming the Voiceover Workshop and Media, which is the host body for the Voiceover Conference.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tcode. Again, Voiceover Workshop, really what we are about is raising voiceover soldiers. Yeah, really. It goes past just recording voiceovers for us at the Voiceover Workshop and Media. And we started basically because I wanted to pass on the knowledge that I have to younger people or older people who are interested, and also to help people see the power in their voice. I particularly do not believe that voiceover is just about recording behind the microphone, because I don't think it is. Recording behind the microphone is one of the things, or one of the many things that we do. But you understanding the power, the confidence, and what you carry in your voice, I think that's really should be the goal. And at Voiceover Workshop, we do not only train voiceover talents. Of course, look at people like Tcode. They are, they've passed through the Voiceover Workshop, and you can see, and so many other guys. Let me not start calling names, because this is Tcode's show. Let's not start promoting other things.
It's fine. I mean, we're all soldiers in this.
You understand? So, and one thing that I believe that why I initially said that we're raising voiceover soldiers is soldiers do not give up on whatever they do. There's usually a goal, there's a mission, there's a plan, there's a process, there's, even when it's not working out, there's the pushing, there's supporting each other, there's, a whole lot, right? And the essence for us is to grow people who understand that their voices are powerful, and that talk is cheap, but your voice can be expensive, and then of course building an agency that is 360 in the sense that we train, we produce, we create events and platforms, and that can help the voiceover artists thrive. And for us at the Voiceover at the Voiceover Workshop, one thing we believe is that this industry has more to it than what we allow ourselves to see, especially in Africa. And one of our goals is to ensure that where Africa is concerned, we create platforms, we train people, to a point where they understand, they know what they're doing. They know that you're not just talking, but your voice is expensive. And before you can say that your voice is expensive, you would have put in the work, that anywhere in the world, you can face whoever and use that voice very exceptionally.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. And like King, he would always say talk is cheap. He says it perfectly, that there's a depth in his voice. He's like, talk is cheap, but your voice is expensive. So thank you so much, King E. One of the things I see about you is you're like someone who goes to a desert or a forest, and you say, oh, I can make a city in this forest, or I can make rivers come out of this desert, and you start something that nobody has done before. And speaking of the things that you've started is why we're having this conversation, right? The Voiceover Conference. So we've had 3 editions of the Voiceover Conference in the past. Let's talk about what led you to start in the conference initially, before we now talk about the conference for this year. How did the idea come to be, and why did you even believe that could happen? Because I know when that started, it wasn't like people were doing conferences in Nigeria or in Africa. So because it's Nigeria's or Africa's pioneer voiceover conference. So what gave you that inspiration and the motivation to continue doing this?
Well, the inspiration, I think, is just everyday people, everyday life. I think one of the reasons I decided to talk to my people and say, let's start the Voiceover Conference was because I realized that a lot of people make money from voiceovers and nobody really talks about it. Like we don't do so many things, right? And you look at the music industry, you look at the acting industry, and the voiceover industry, it was there somehow, right? But really there was nothing fancy about it. There was nothing that wanted to really draw people into it. So from the outside, it's just voiceovers. It's really, there's nothing exciting about it. People were just fine with making, getting scripts and recording. And for me, I think that there's more, right? There's fun. There's the entertainment part. There's the business part. There's the technical part. There are a lot of things that we can marry together, to make the industry really beautiful. And for me, at the time, it felt like, okay, if I can make as low as 5,000 naira from voiceovers, doesn't that say that there's something here that I can sell? So why is it that a lot of people would rather not say anything about it? Because for you to sell more, people need to know the relevance of what you sell, of your product. And for people to know the relevance of your product, it has to be accessible to them. They have to know that product exists. And we have been complaining over many years that the voiceover industry is this, is that, there was no value placed on the voiceover talents. But the question will be that, what have we been doing to really to make people that are outside the industry place some value on us? If you talk about music, there are lots of things that go on in the music industry, concerts, a whole lot of things, collaborations, music videos, album release, EPs. All of these activities help to boost the industry and also allow people to be very interested in the industry. So young people want to go into the music industry or the acting industry because of what the people who are already in the industry are doing. So what are we doing to ensure that every home, there's someone in every home that aspires to be a voiceover actor? What are we doing to show that there are job opportunities here? What are we doing to say that this thing is really fun and when you come in here you succeed? What are we showing to say this is an industry that is worth venturing into, right? Yes, we've been doing trainings and all of those things which are very important, but sometimes there has to be, some things can only be experienced and not explained. When you explain it, there's an understanding, but when you experience it, it's a totally different thing altogether. And because of that, I felt like we should have different ideas, different platforms, and create them to really boost the industry, help voiceover actors network, help them to learn in a very friendly environment, learn from people who have gone ahead. And really, that was why we started. I just felt like there's a need for us to promote more, to push more, to market what we do more, and see value. Before you expect people to see value in what you do, you also have to see value. And for you to see value, you have to put in work, resources, investment into what you think is valuable to you. Then other people can as well see it that way. That's what it has been, and 3 editions gone. The 4th one we're working towards, and really it's not been as easy as it should be, but I'm thankful to God for people, for the team that are working behind the scenes and making sure everything works out, the ideation processes, and so many other things that are going behind the scene to ensure that it works. So God has been faithful. We're here now. We're just starting. We're scratching the surface. We're going somewhere, and this is big. The Voiceover Conference, it goes past me. There's a whole lot. There's something that we're trying to birth, and it's a process where we're pushing towards it, and it's definitely will be happening. One of the voiceover events that people will travel all over the world to come and attend. It's the Voiceover Conference, and it's happening and starting here in Nigeria. And of course, everyone is welcome to be part of it. That's the idea. We are all building something, and we can only do it together, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is interesting. Let me start by saying I remember the last episode of my podcast. I was interviewing Macaulay Afemikhe from Ghana, and one of the things Macaulay said was, because we're also talking about this issue of the industry, and good enough we're having this conference. These are things that build the industry. For me, building an industry is beyond just the craft itself or the craftsmen. So if, for instance, in the voiceover industry, we have the voice talents, we need different people to build an ecosystem where the talent itself can shine. So you need, for instance, we're recording this podcast. We need a camera. We need the microphones. We need the lights. You know, we need the recording gadgets beyond just the voice and the mind of the person speaking. So it takes beyond just voiceovers to build an industry. And the conference is a place where everybody comes together. So Macaulay was saying something like, because I was giving him, you know, this particular idea that you're talking about. I mean, we bringing people together, not necessarily the talents themselves. And he said that we need to value what we're doing first of all. We need to see it as a thing and invest in it. Then other investors externally can come to contribute and impact our industry, which is really valid. So kudos to you, King E, and the rest of us in the team, because by the way, I'm a part of the team putting the conference together. Just do my
big up to everyone, Queen B,
Shout out to them.
Eric, Ahmed, Tcode, Christian. I mean, doing things.
So big up to everybody in the team. I was going to talk about this issue of value because just today, we were having a conversation before the podcast. You were talking about, you know, how as Africans, it's really important for us to treasure what we've got. You know how people in Africa would believe that things that come from maybe the US or the UK, let me just use the word the West or Europe, we tend to give it more preference than what we're doing here. And it affects us, whether we like it or not. The amount of people trooping out of Africa. Well, there are some arguments for that. But then if you look at it from a broader perspective, a lot of people think that whatever comes from there is pristine. It carries that value. And whatever comes from here is just pedestrian. So I don't want to go too deep in the conversation because you started the conversation and you were saying some very rich things that were worth listening to. So I'd like you to tell us about it and how it also correlates with the conference, because I'm looking forward to a conference where people will travel all the way from the UK, from the US, from different countries in Africa to Nigeria to attend the conference.
That's it. It's going to happen, definitely. Right? That's why we've started. And because we've started, it's happening with the plethora of, you know, speakers that we have for this year. Definitely, that's not far-fetched. That's not far away. It's just for us to get to that point, have the resources, and I mean, it's not it's not what's not possible. Now, in the place of value, I think that's like the bedrock of a whole lot of things in the voiceover industry. I've heard people talk about agencies and the fact that the clients, this and that, and a whole lot of things. You can even blame it on the economy of Nigeria or the economic situation of Nigeria and all that. There's all that, right? But I think the bottom line is how we value and see what we do. I have spoken and trained hundreds of students, and over time, I realized that one of the challenges that we have in the industry is how people see voiceovers. I'm not talking people outside voiceovers. I'm talking people who do voiceovers, whether old or young. Okay, and one of the things is that value. And as Tcode mentioned, there's this programming that we have. Like he said, take for instance an Eric who has been in industry for over a decade or close to 2 decades, or Choma, for instance, and maybe some guy in the West, right? Eric has done so many things in the industry, recorded hundreds of, thousands of voiceovers, has been around for some time, has done trainings both nationally and internationally, has trained numbers of students, right? And then some guy that is not Nigerian or African, from, just a guy who's just starting out. I know a whole lot of voiceover actors who would rather go for the training with that person than someone from here, because there's a programming. And I think that that's one of the things that affects us. The beautiful thing about voiceover is that every region, every country has their own sauce, their own juice, what they have that is dynamic and unique to them. Now, if you don't value what you have, the chances that you would take it seriously are slim. Right? So one of the things that we need to try to do as voiceover actors in Africa or in Nigeria is to value ourselves, value the crafts as we interpret it. Yes, the whole idea is not originally from Africa, but the truth is that we now do voiceovers. But then the beauty of what we do now should be that we are reflecting our experiences, our stories, our style into it. That's the beauty. And that's where we have our superpower. But most of the time, because we do not value what we have, we start chasing and looking at other people's own and thinking that they're more valuable. And the truth is that what is not original to you can never be original to you. You would try, but you would only be number two. Okay? So the first thing is even to value what we have. I mean, you hear Jackpa and all those things happening right now. It's part of the whole thing. Some people think that if you're in Africa, you can't succeed. Even as a voiceover actor, that you can't succeed in Africa. But that's not true. Because we are yet to explore the possibilities that are embedded in our experiences, in our stories, in our country and all of that. Right? And we have not valued what we have enough to invest into it, because when you don't value something, you can't invest into it. You expect that when you invest 10 naira, you should get 15 naira back. But what if you invest 10 naira and you get 0 naira back? Would you still continue to invest? So if you've been investing into voiceovers, for instance, I know how much. I mean, doing the Voiceover Conference for 3 years
in a row.
Do you understand? I know how much that we've put in. Have we gotten it back? That's a question. But would we continue? Yes. Because there's a value that we've attached to what we do as Voiceover Workshop or, as organizers of the Voiceover Conference. And that is the way to succeed. There is no other way. So if you keep thinking, oh, I have to run out of this country to make it work. Oh, I have to, value other people's, what other people have. Then there's a problem. There's a fundamental problem. And this also affects how you present yourself before clients. Because if you don't value, sometimes these things are subconscious. You just think that it's just voiceover. It's just my voice, really. There's really no big deal there. So when a client says, oh, you're charging too much, you feel bad that you're charging too much, maybe because you don't even know the value of what you have, what you carry, or what you can deliver, or how important your voice is to that brand or to communicating that brand's message. All right. Yeah. So it's important that we, from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, it's important that we value what we do. We are not afraid to invest into our crafts, buying equipment, attending conferences, attending or paying for webinars and all of those things. The funny thing is when you even go and register for, a course or attend a conference that is not Nigerian, you pay more. But don't get me wrong. It's important as well to attend these conferences that are outside your geographical territory or your comfort zone. You know why? Because they help you see different perspectives. They help you see different aspects. You network and connect with people that of like minds that are not within your region. So it gives you a broader scope of things, gives you a broader mindset. They are very important. If you have the resources, if you have, the links, please do them. But that should not make you devalue what you have or the things and the activities going on in your own state or in your own country. That's where the challenge is. If your value is biased, right, and you think, oh, this one is more important, and then you bad mouth this one because it's within your region, it's your country, it's your continent, it's Africa, maybe it's not really that good and stuff like that, then there is a fundamental problem. And if we all do that, then there will not be any industry. I'm not saying that everybody should think like me or want the industry to grow or want to invest into making the industry a more robust space. But then if you are like me, okay, you should. And everyone cannot be like me. Some people will not want to champion something, but they would want to support the person that is championing it. So find your strength. Value what we are doing here, value wherever you are, and also be ready to support, put in, invest, and it's just a matter of time. Really, would have a better industry. These things are not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of things. One of the things that you said that I can relate with directly is the fact that when you want to do something of such magnitude, you have to invest. And investment doesn't necessarily mean that you recoup what you put in, especially when you're just starting. But again, like you said, you're raising a team of soldiers, so we don't give up. I've been doing this podcast for almost a year. But I don't give up, right? So that's the spirit. And I, this is just a clarion call to everyone doing voiceovers in Nigeria. I know that your personal business is really important, but in any way you can support the ecosystem of the voiceover industry. Do something. And supporting doesn't necessarily mean going to meet Kingi personally or coming to meet me or whoever is doing anything in the industry. Support the industry by ensuring that certain standard are maintained. Like the value that you place on your craft itself, when that value has a way of, going across board and reflecting, because somebody, by putting a level of standard in what you do, you have indirectly influenced someone to say, oh, so this can be done this way and this should be done this way. Oh, this is the standard. But when you do it poorly, either the way you record or the way you interact with clients or you kind of rates that you charge and stuff like that, it affects the industry across board. And then we look like non-professionals who don't know what they're doing. So every interaction with any voice actor is a reflection of the state of the industry. Not exactly like generally, but that impression that clients get by communicating with you, it rubs off on every one of us in a way. So you need to rep your industry. You need to give it the value and upgrade your mindset. Now let's talk about the Voiceover Conference 4.0. That's the Voiceover Conference 2023 #TVOC 2023. Yeah. So, I've been a part of it and I can talk about it, but let's hear from the boss himself. What are the things that we should be expecting? You mentioned like guests, speakers across the continent and everywhere. So give us more details. What should we expect?
Well, I'm not going to spill everything, but if you want to know more, you can register to attend the conference. But really, this year we have a lineup of speakers that people who are not just successful, but they have the experience, right? You know that sometimes you can become successful, really the experience is not there, but somehow you became successful. But when you combine experience and success, then you have a robust and a successful, entirely successful person. And we have United States, the UK, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and the list goes on. These are guys we have people who have been in the industry for the past 40 years, successful guys. I don't want to call the names, but of course, we've dropped a few people: Mark Cashman, Jennifer Canary,
Chilu
Lemba, you know, Choma BBB. Who else have we? All right, the other guys are, of course, loading, and they have all confirmed. Trust me, King E is there. Of course, I'm not going anywhere.
He's gonna be there.
And then of course the conference is supposed to have, you know, speaking sessions, workshops, panel sessions. See, the experience will be massive. Okay. Okay. So we're really looking forward to it. And of course, beyond borders, we are also touching on things that will help you grow as a voiceover actor that are outside voiceovers.
Beyond borders, that's the theme.
Beyond borders,
for those who don't know,
challenges, strategies, and opportunities.
Let's talk about that theme. Why did you or the team
decide? It was I think for the first time I let the theme and topic open to everyone. You know, it was quite interesting. But then beyond borders, for me, for people who don't understand, we're not talking about Jackba that you should run away from Nigeria. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is thinking beyond the borders of voiceovers, or combining what you know as a voiceover actor and also looking at, you know, relevant topics and issues that can help you succeed. So looking outside the voice. So a whole lot of voiceover talents that I know, they only think of voiceovers, recording. What can you do aside that? What can you do beyond just recording voiceovers? What can you add to what you know how to do? Some people don't. Sound design, can you do that? Right. I recently got a project to do Foley and SFX for a movie, you know, coming out pretty soon, with some top celebrities on there. And the truth is, I have for a very long time did only voiceovers and producing voiceover work. And because of that, I mastered the arts of sound design and all of that. And right now I'm on a project that is outside voiceovers entirely, that I'm working on. Okay. A lot of people might never get to that point because all they think about is how to get a script and record. Aside that, there are a whole lot of things that happen within the voiceover business space that are not voiceover related, but help voiceover talents to grow. You know, when you want to register a business, it is not a voiceover talent that helps you, you know, understand the process or, you know, go through the process. When you talk about finance, how to keep your books and all of those things, it is not generally, I mean, you can be a voiceover talent and you're someone in the financial space or, you know, maybe that would work for you. But then if not, you have to, if you really want to go into the business, right, there's the technical part or tech. Right now, tech, you know, there's AI all over the place, right? So how do you even understand some of these things? Okay, that's beyond voiceovers, and that's really what we want to talk about this year, to ensure that people are not just thinking about how do I get a script, how do I record the script, how do I get the script, but they are also thinking broader than that, because there's more to what we do than just waiting for a script. What if you don't get a script? What if, God forbid, you don't have a voice anymore, or your voice just decides to say, okay, I don't want to do voiceovers anymore? What do? You become irrelevant. So you want to try as much as you can to get on board as it ought. Really? So yeah.
Beyond borders, challenges,
strategies
and opportunities. What a theme. And I can't wait for us to, you know, eat the things that will be thoughts or the speaker session and all of that. Now, the event is supposed to be
12th, 13th of May, 2020.
So that's about a month.
Yeah, it's a hybrid event. So I mean, I think we should break that down. With
exactly. That's what I was going
you know, it's a hybrid event for people who don't understand how this works. The first day, usually how we've been doing it for the past 3 years, the first day is strictly online. So everybody is online, and the event will be streamed streamed live across board to everyone, of course, who got their tickets, to attend. And then the second day will be both online and on site. It simply means that we have a physical venue for the second day, but it will still be streamed live across board. And the venue is Radisson Hotel, Ikeja GRA, Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, so if you're outside Lagos, of course, I know that a lot of people are coming, or a few people are coming from outside the shores of Lagos. If you're abroad and you feel like you're in town or you want to come around, do it for us. We would welcome you with open arms.
That's the vibe, man. So it's a hybrid event on the 12th and on the 13th of May. I also understand that it's a ticketed event. Right?
Absolutely.
So tell us about
it is
how to go about the
so of course www.thevoiceoverconference.com. Go to the register menu, you fill in the form, you pay, of course, on site, which is hybrid, first day online, second day physical, 30,000 naira. I don't know when this is going to be played. Right now that we're recording it, there's a 10% off on the website.
I think it's going to be out like a day before the end.
If you're able to meet it, anything can change. But if you meet it at the 10% is still on.
So for those who are able to listen to this podcast on time, those are
So, but if you just want to do your physical, your hybrid, what am I saying? Your online, of course, you pay your 25,000 naira. All right, so it's as cheap as that. This is the lowest it would ever be.
Wow.
so you want to take time, go on there, go to www.thevoiceoverconference.com and take advantage of whatever is going on. And
the truth is that, let me be very open to you guys. If the conference costs 100,000 naira, some of us will still pay to attend the conference. For trainings, people pay as much as 80,000 naira, 100,000 naira for a training. So I don't know why the
people pay more than that.
They pay more than that, of course. And this is just in Nigeria. If you're talking internationally,
that's a different ball game. People pay as high as $500
to attend a conference, right? So this is happening in Africa. This is happening in Nigeria. So again, we're seeing it for the maybe third time or the upteenth time here in the podcast. Support what we have home base. This is perhaps the only hybrid conference, right, in Nigeria.
Yes.
Right now.
It is.
And it's a great opportunity to network with industry talents, people that are doing stuff in the voiceover industry. Like, last year was mind-blowing. The kind of conversations that we had. and to be honest with you, the people who attended last year's conference, it's almost a year after the conference, and I look at the progress that a lot of us have made. You can tell that conference sowed some sort of seed in us, and we were pushing. People started doing things because you listen to people that have succeeded in the industry and are still succeeding, and the track record and the stories and all of that. By the way, if you're wondering the things that were said or discussed, the Voiceover Workshop and Media have been so generous enough to put those information on YouTube, so you can go check them out. The YouTube channel
Voiceover Conference is the Voiceover
Conference on YouTube. So just go there. You listen to inspiring, motivating speeches that were given in the last conference. Anyways, the venue of the conference, where is it happening, Kingi?
Yes, you probably have heard it. I think I said it earlier, but it's the venue of the on-site, right, is at Radisson Hotel, the prestigious Radisson Hotel, GRA Ikeja. It's off Isaac John. It's on Isaac John, actually, not off. On Isaac John, 4244.
Yeah,
but when you get there, definitely you will see it. It's not hidden. So that's where it's happening, and we are definitely looking forward to hosting you. It's a fine environment. Check it out if you like, somewhere on our page.
Definitely. I mean, it's a very beautiful environment. We did it last year at the same venue, and happening again this year at the same venue. So come from wherever you are in Nigeria. You can also come from abroad because you can pay in dollars as well. I think it's $60.
$60.
Great. So you can be a part of the conference. Every other information that you probably missed in this podcast, you could go find it at the voiceoverconference.com, register, learn more about the conference, prepare for the conference, and we'll see you there.
Absolutely.
So, Kingi, it's been an amazing episode. I don't know if you have any other thing to say. See, one of the things you don't know about Kingi, or you probably don't know, because some people know, is that he's a rapper. So Kingi drops lines, bars, hard bars. Like today I heard, talk is cheap, but your voice can be expensive. I said, nah, this guy has to be a poet or a rapper of some sort. And he does rap. He's actually a music person. He has some songs he has recorded.
Absolutely. That's it. It's all in the fun of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to really say thank you to everyone who has believed enough to be part of the push for the Voiceover Conference. Thank you so much. I mean, it's one thing to do something alone. It's another thing to do something with people who are channeling their energy to achieve a common goal. And everybody on the team are so brilliant and bringing in their A game. And for me, I just think with that's evidence that this is going to be a success. So like I said, look out for the Voiceover Conference. Keep counting. People will start coming to Nigeria, traveling in just to attend the conference. And you don't want to be on the back seat. So start now that we're starting. We have a ground to build on. And of course, we also need everyone who wants to be part of it to come on board, support the process. And if you're a brand as well, because we really need those too. This is something that we're doing that the opportunities here are immense. A lot of people don't just know. So if you're a business or an individual that you think, you can support the Voiceover Conference, we are also open to that. We know we are not running away from it because this is something that would impact and, positively impact generations to come. And I also think strongly that there's so much employment here for the younger generation and people who want to come on board. We're building something, and we also have to help society to ensure that people are responsible, they're channeling their energy, doing the right things, and using their voice positively to affect their generation. Great. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tcode, also for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor. And one more thing I should say is that in case you want to sponsor the conference, we're still open for sponsorship or partnership. Let's do this together. Let's make this work for the industry and for the generations to come that will be impacted by this. Kingi, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, man.
We could do this another time again and again, and we won't get tired.
Thanks. So appreciate it.
And I think I just recalled that we've been talking about the website. We've not really mentioned our social media presence. So
yes,
because we flood there with information all the time, every day.
Voiceover Workshop.
That's also
anyway,
valid.
It's still part of it. At the Voiceover Conference, on Instagram,
and on LinkedIn as well.
Voiceover Conference is also on YouTube and on Facebook. Right.
Yeah. Yes. And the Voiceover Workshop, like Kingi said, is the platform for the trainings,
and everything. I mean, it's powered. All our ideas are powered by the Voiceover Workshop and media. So on Instagram, Voiceover Workshop, on Twitter, VO Workshop, Facebook, Voiceover Workshop, LinkedIn, Voiceover Workshop, and then YouTube, of course, the Voiceover Workshop as well.
Thank you so much, Kingi. I'm going to be dropping all of that in the show notes so you don't miss anything. You can also follow Kingi on Instagram
at Kingi Afemikhe.
Okay, Kingi Afemikhe. And you can follow me as well. Right,
yes,
Tcode _70.
Exactly.
Follow the podcast as well. That's Everything VOs, right? So it's been an amazing episode, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the conference. Also look forward to the next episode of the Everything Voiceovers Podcast, African Perspective. I remain your host, Tcode, your favorite voice actor. And for the fact that this is Kingi's episode, right? Let's say the catchphrase that he always says, right? Talk. No, let me give him the exclusive right to do that, right? So I don't steal it from him. So Kingi, over to you. After this,
Thank you,
we've got the show.
Thank you, everyone. Keep learning, keep growing, and remember, talk is cheap, but your voice can be expensive.
Can be expensive. All right, bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell someone about it. Follow the podcast on Everything VOs on all social media platforms. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode. This podcast is a Coded Voiceovers production.